Good evening and welcome to our global forum where we ask hard questions with clear heads and open hearts. Tonight's motion is this: should multinational tech and health companies be allowed, under UN and WHO-led treaties, to collect and use biometric and health data in developing countries during recurring outbreaks, if strict privacy safeguards and fair benefit sharing are enforced? Here is the backdrop in plain terms: outbreaks return in waves, fear rises, data can save lives, and laws must keep up. The affirmative argues that lawful data use with strong guardrails can cut deaths, speed vaccines, and strengthen local systems. The negative believes that such schemes risk exploitation, surveillance creep, and unequal power over vulnerable communities. By draw, the men's team will argue for the motion, and the women's team will argue against it. Let us set a brisk tempo and keep the language accessible, because clarity is the best armor against confusion. Affirmative. Your time starts now. Please deliver your case.
Thank you. The core claim is simple. Responsible data use under enforceable international treaties saves lives in recurring outbreaks.
To ground that, consider how faster contact mapping and adverse event tracking can cut response time from weeks to days.
A treaty framework binds firms to privacy by design, data minimization, community consent, and independent audits with real penalties.
Equitable benefit sharing means local labs get tools, training, and royalties when data helps create diagnostics or drugs.
Without structured access, each outbreak restarts from zero as paper records scatter and patients fall through the cracks.
Speed matters because in public health the curve does not wait, and a day lost can double caseloads.
We also propose data trusts governed with local seats, sunset clauses, and red teaming to break risky practices before they spread.
Transparency dashboards let citizens see what is collected, why it is collected, how long it is kept, and when it is deleted.
Encryption at rest and in transit plus differential privacy can keep personal identity sealed while patterns remain useful.
When vaccines or tests arise from these insights, contracts must require tiered pricing, tech transfer, and regional manufacturing.
This turns emergency data into long-term resilience rather than a one-way extraction.
It also builds trust because communities can watch benefits arrive beside the ambulances, not years after the sirens fade.
Finally, treaty review boards with civil society veto power ensure that safeguards are not decoration but daily discipline.
In short, careful data saves neighbors, and fairness keeps the door open for the next storm.
Thank you. Affirmative, crisp, and focused, as promised. Negative. The floor is yours. Please present your case.
Our position is that these programs hand too much leverage to foreign corporations in moments when communities have the least bargaining power.
People say consent, yet consent during fear is closer to surrender, and that is not justice.
Treaties can read noble, but enforcement across borders is slow, while data leaves instantly.
Once collected, data tends to live 9 lives, because deletion is a promise that servers love to forget.
Surveillance infrastructure built for health often migrates to policing, credit scoring, or political profiling.
History shows that emergency exceptions become habits, and habits become the new normal.
Local alternatives exist. Invest in community clinics, paperless registries owned by public institutions, and open-source tools that do not require export.
Benefit sharing sounds fair, yet patents and trade secrets can outmaneuver it, leaving hospitals paying for cures their data helped create.
Technical fixes like differential privacy are valuable, but they cannot patch power asymmetry between a village and a multinational boardroom.
Real safety is built when communities control the keys, set the terms, and can shut the system off without asking permission.
If a treaty moves forward, the default must be data stays local, identifiers never cross borders, and emergency use expires quickly by law.
Until those conditions are proven, and not merely pledged, the cost to dignity and autonomy is too high.
We should fight disease without trading privacy for promises.
Therefore, we urge you to reject the motion and protect the people first.
Thank you. Negative, forceful, and precise, and now the round moves to cross-examination in due course. We resume with pace and precision. Affirmative. Please proceed with your targeted attack.
Your fear-based objection misreads incentives. because when audits, breach bounties, and local vetoes are binding, firms gain more by protecting data than by abusing it.
Thank you. Negative. Your turn to mount a focused defense.
A contract can punish a breach, yet it cannot unexpose a village. So prevention means keeping raw identifiers local and shutting the export valve before the first click.
Negative may now press its own attack.
You sell privacy by design as if it were a seatbelt, but these roads are unlit and the driver is a corporation that also owns the map.
Affirmative. The floor returns to you for defense.
The seatbelt analogy fits if we add speed limits, black box recorders, and community roadblocks, and that is exactly what treaty audits, kill switches, and citizen oversight supply.
Negative. Prepare a two-voice attack, concise and coordinated.
First point, emergency consent is manufactured under sirens, so it is not consent but compliance.
Second point, technical masking leaks at the margins, and the margins are where activists and minorities live.
Third point, benefit sharing sounds generous, but royalty flows can be delayed for years, which is a lifetime in a clinic without power.
Therefore, the motion repackages extraction as solidarity, and we should not trade dignity for dashboards.
Thank you. Negative. Time. Affirmative. Your paired attack now.
Leader case. Outbreaks are recurrent like seasons, so stable data pipes with rotating keys cut the lag that turns sparks into wildfires.
Support. Meta-analyses show that timely surveillance halves response windows, and privacy-preserving computation lets us keep patterns while the person stays home.
We also anchor price ceilings and tech transfer in the treaty text, so value captured from data returns as jobs and manufacturing capacity.
With local data trusts holding golden shares, any misuse triggers an automatic shutdown and damages that exceed any profit from cheating.
Time on the affirmative. Negative. Two-voice defense. One answers and one challenges.
Answer. Your shutdowns are only as fast as the slowest regulator on the busiest day, and that delay is the hole a truck can drive through.
Challenge. If your safeguards are so airtight, will you accept criminal liability for executives on personal terms when violations occur?
Affirmative. Respond with two voices. One answers and one exposes weakness.
Answer, yes, senior officers should face personal liability for willful or negligent misuse when a treaty court finds harm under clear standards.
Weakness. The negatives model offers clinic slogans, but no surge oxygen, no rapid tests, and no interoperable registries when the next wave rolls in.
Judges, we seek a midpoint reading. Please give current lean, one strength you see, one weakness on the other side, and a word of encouragement.
I currently lean affirmative for its concrete governance stack and personal liability hook, yet I see a weakness in their reliance on speed of enforcement, and I encourage both teams to model failure cases with equal specificity.
I tilt negative because they keep power and consent at the center, but their weakness is under specifying a working alternative that scales, and I urge both sides to show how the village clinic wins on day one.
I am undecided because both frames are compelling. The affirmative shows practical levers while the negative rightly drills into asymmetry, and I ask each to quantify risks and prove who owns the off switch.
We enter round 2 and expect new angles. Negative. Please begin your next attack.
You promise transparency dashboards, but poor bandwidth turns them into postcards of promises, so real transparency means local assemblies that can halt collection in real time.
Affirmative. Offer a defense.
We back local assemblies with binding quorum rules, remote stoppage codes printed on clinic walls, and funding that keeps the meeting hall's lights on, even when the grid flickers.
Affirmative may also advance one sharp attack.
The longer we wait for perfect enforcement, the more families we consign to preventable loss, so proportional risk with hard remedies beats paralysis that calls itself purity.
Negative. Provide a defense.
Proportional to whom is the quiet trap, because harm is not averaged, it is concentrated, and the treaty must center those most exposed rather than the median.
Affirmative. Two-voice attack. Leader and supporter, keep it tight.
Leader, we propose tiered data where only aggregate signals cross borders by default, while identifiable records stay air-gapped within sovereign nodes.
Support. Federated analytics and secure enclaves let global models learn without lifting raw files, and a joint forensic unit investigates every attempted breach with publish or perish standards.
Negative. Two-voice attack, leader and supporter.
Leader. Tiered data still creates incentives to re-identify when money or politics beckon, and black markets grow where rules are tight and resources are thin.
Support? If you mix mobility data, clinic logs, and purchase histories, you can triangulate a person from crumbs. So the safe default is less collection, not cleverer logs.
Affirmative, two-voice defense, one answers and one counter-asks.
Answer. We cut triangulation by forbidding cross-domain joins without a local court order and by publishing join logs in near real time.
Counter-ask. Will the negative accept treaty-funded public data stewards chosen by lottery from the community with recall powers to check every join?
Negative. Two-voice defense, one answers and one points to weakness.
Answer. A citizen steward program is closer to our model because it places hands on the actual levers, not just on the comment box.
Weakness. Your court orders assume courts exist and are independent, which is not always true in the places you seek to serve.
Affirmative. Please take a targeted attack opportunity.
We mitigate court fragility by embedding regional ombuds with rotating membership from neighboring jurisdictions, and by requiring joint signatures before any cross-domain analysis proceeds.
Negative, single-voice defense.
Regional ombuds can still be captured by the same network of influence, so power must be distributed to those who can walk to the server room and pull the plug.
Affirmative, a single-voice attack now to push the frontier.
Then let us codify community-controlled hardware with multi-signature keys held by local nurses, civil society, and an external trustee, so no single actor can flip the switch alone.
Negative. Reply with a single defense.
Shared keys are safer than single keys, yet they do not answer the political pressure that follows tragedy, so protections must include cooling-off periods before any emergency expansion.
We broaden participation with fresh voices. Affirmative may advance a compact attack.
Cooling off periods are sound if paired with red alert overrides that require simultaneous approvals across independent bodies within a narrow scope.
Negative. Your concise defense.
Overrides are the door we fear most, because doors have a way of becoming hallways, and hallways become highways after the next crisis.
Let us rotate speakers to ensure full participation. Affirmative. Another single-voice defense.
We restrict overrides to anonymized aggregates only, time-bound to days, not months, with automatic review and public notice that is impossible to bury.
Negative. Prepare a two-voice attack emphasizing equity, leader and supporter.
Leader, the motion talks about equitable benefit sharing, yet history shows that when profits arrive, the queue forms in Zurich, not at the clinic gate.
Support. If data trained a test kit, then the first shipments and the manufacturing jobs must go to the communities that carried the data burden.
Affirmative, two-voice defense. One answers and one poses a challenge.
Answer. We lock first rights of supply and licensing to the contributing regions, with penalties that escalate each day a shipment is late.
Challenge. Will the negative endorse a global escrow that automatically pays clinics per verified data contribution when a product reaches market?
Negative. Two-voice defense with an answer and a weakness probe.
Answer. Automatic escrow is closer to fairness because it short-circuits the usual delay tactics.
Weakness probe. Who verifies contribution without creating a perverse incentive to over-collect or to mislabel records as high value?
Affirmative. Respond with a single defense.
We remove the incentive by tying rewards to outcomes like reduced time to diagnosis, not to raw volume of uploads, and verification occurs through independent sampling.
Negative. One more pointed attack before we reset the clock.
Your outcome metric is still model-centric, while communities seek agency, so unless every dataset is revocable at will, your fairness runs on rails built elsewhere.
Affirmative. Final defense in this segment.
Revocability is essential, so the treaty will include per dataset withdrawal, with an impact assessment that forces redesign, rather than punishing the community for asserting rights.
We now ensure that quieter voices are heard. Affirmative. Please bring in speakers we have not yet heard to present a crisp attack.
Emerging disease hotspots change. and federated models need fresh gradients, so creating regional compute hubs pays for resilience and keeps expertise where the risk lives.
Negative, concise defense from a new voice.
Regional compute is good, but it must be owned and governed by local public institutions with transparent hiring so expertise grows without corporate gatekeeping.
Affirmative, paired attack. Leader and supporter, move with specificity.
Leader, we propose a ladder from data to dignity that starts with privacy-preserving registries and ends with regional biomanufacturing powered by compulsory tech transfer.
Support. The ladder has rungs you can touch, including scholarships for local engineers, open curricula, and binding apprenticeships funded from treaty fees.
Negative, paired attack in reply, leader and supporter.
Leader, ladders can also be chutes, because when funds dry up after headlines fade, clinics are left with half-built systems and a stack of expired passwords.
Support. If governance is seasonal, data becomes the crop that fails, so communities should invest first in people and power, not in platforms that demand constant feeding.
Affirmative, paired defense. One answers and one challenges with a question.
Answer, treaty fees are not donations but obligations, enforced by trade levers that persist beyond the news cycle.
Question, if funding is durable and off-switches are local, will the negative accept a pilot in which a community can end the program without penalty at any time?
Negative, paired defense with an answer and a weakness pointer.
Answer, we would accept pilots that embed local exit rights and publish independent audits regardless of political pressure.
Weakness pointer. Your model still presumes that harm is discovered after the fact, while dignity demands that risk be minimized before the first scan.
Affirmative, single voice attack to address pre-harm minimization.
Pre-harm minimization is exactly why defaults are aggregates only, local holding of keys, and a green list rather than a red list of permitted queries.
Negative, single voice defense to close this block.
Green lists help, but they can be widened quietly, so every expansion must require a supermajority at the community assembly, plus an external review with the power to say no.
We shift gear to accountability mechanics. Affirmative, attack with precision.
We adopt strict liability for cross-border leaks and mandate executive disqualification for repeated failures so incentives line up with caution.
Negative, defense in one sentence.
Strict liability without strict limits invites risk pricing, so firms may simply set aside cash to pay for pain.
Affirmative, quick rebuttal attack.
Disqualification of officers cannot be budgeted as a line item, and loss of market access under treaty sanctions bites harder than any fine.
Negative, concise defense.
Market bans must be automatic to avoid political bargaining, otherwise sanctions become stories, and stories do not protect patients.
Affirmative, bring a new voice for a targeted attack.
Automation arrives via triggers like unsealed breach reports that activate suspension clocks, and appeals pause nothing until conditions are met.
Negative, single defense from a different voice.
Automatic triggers can be spoofed or weaponized, so verification must be independent and fast, with penalties for false flags.
We proceed to synthesis. Affirmative, a paired attack to lay out the end state, leader and supporter.
Leader, the end state is a network of sovereign nodes that talk in math, not in names, turning shared risk into shared strength without exporting identity.
Support. This architecture grows local talent, shortens lines at clinics, and ensures that when the next wave rises, communities are not starting from an empty page.
Negative, paired defense closing this movement. Answer and interrogate.
Answer, your math still has margins where people live, so any model must be opt-in at the community level with real options to say no without losing care.
Interrogate. Will you guarantee services and supplies even for communities that decline data sharing, without price penalties or soft coercion?
Affirmative, concise answer.
Yes, refusal cannot cost a community its care, and the treaty will ring-fence universal provision, independent of data participation.
Negative, brief final defense.
Then write that guarantee first, fund it fully, and prove it works before you lift a single scanner.
We will now collect ourselves for the next segment and maintain the high standard of clarity and respect established so far.